What year did Clockwork start?
Clockwork started in 93, but then we took Clockwork to Ibiza in 94.
We was just partying. I had no outside view of what was going on. We were just having fun and playing music and playing at the best clubs in the world.
The more success you had, the more opportunity you had to spend more money. Cocaine's basically a definition of insanity because you keep doing it and expecting different results.
Yeah.
From the start, as soon as I did it, I was addicted. The last of the great Ibiza summers, that's when like the beauty of it had gone.
All the dough you brought in,
It never got
did
boring.
most of it go up your hooter?
So the amount of drugs I took, right, had a really detrimental effect on my mental health, right? It's stimulant and it really screws you up, especially when taking that much. Some kids would try to stab me.
How much gear could you get through in a day?
Around 28-ish. About
28 what?
Grams.
A day?
Yeah.
You are joking, man. Blocko, Danny, welcome back to the show, lads.
Dodge.
Very much.
How are you, mate?
Very
Lovely
good,
to see
mate.
you.
Very good to see you both. It's funny, this one. We've had Blocko on by himself, we've had Danny on by himself, and now we're going to do a three-wayer.
Free, mate. Free song.
Threesome.
Free song. Hey,
Who
lovely.
gets left out?
Lads,
There's a goal for every goal.
there is a lot of history in this room with the three of us, with the promoting world, the nightclub world, the DJ world, the festival world, and everything we've been through. Let's roll all the way back. How did you two first meet?
I tell you, Andy, my partner, he contacted Blocko and said to him, would you play for Clockwork? And he came to play for us in January 93.
Was it Villa Stefano or?
No, it was Paddocks.
Paddocks, that's right.
Paddocks, yeah.
Grazing Road, yeah.
And I was 20, older than 1993, I was 21.
And is that when you first started your promoting world?
Yeah,
around then, was it? 93,
January
okay.
93, yeah.
And where were you based then? What were you thinking at that time, thinking, well, I want to get into the nightclub world?
No, I wasn't. Andy, my partner, said to me, do you want to do a party? And I was ducking and diving in Clubland. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah.
Messing around and whatever. And he said, do you want to do a party? And I went, no, not really. I'm not really up for it. And then he went, come on, we'll do a party. And then we agreed to do it. And from then on in, I think it was like the first, I think it's the addiction, maybe to do like going along that lines. As soon as I started, I was like, oh, I want a bit more of this.
I like this.
Yeah, I like it. You know, the euphoria and the flyers and the different venues and the DJs, yeah.
For anyone listening out there right now, we're talking back in mid-90s where the promoting world was all about flyers, posters, magazines, word of mouth.
Beginning, it was 92 when we started flyering for the event. 92, it was 2 years out of 1989.
Well, let's face it, there was companies built on flyering. They were called the Flying Squad, weren't they?
Flying Squad came around about 97.
Maybe, yeah, but I'm saying that on the back of the promoting, people made a good business about flying gigs because they were becoming so prolific. There was like every week. Obviously,
That's
about
right.
92, 93, you pick your parties at the end of the week. Well, mind you, we was out partying anyway, so it don't really matter. We just,
7 days a week.
yeah, basically. It was just what's on, because I'm open.
And when you when you first started doing your first part, you were 21, early 90s. What made you go, yeah, I want to get Blocko on board? Apart from obviously he was a face or becoming a face.
Andy knew about Brandon. I don't know if he met him at the Milk Bar or someone that was something that was going on, and he just said to me, he said, look, Blocko's like up there, come in, face on the scene like you just said, and he says, like, I want to get him involved, and that was it. And then he started, and he's been with us ever since.
Yeah, so that's 30 years, Blocko.
And and you know what? I was very fortunate because the parties they've started doing were up with the best in London at that time. The Paddocks and then there's the Villa Stefanos. And basically, to be part of that, and I've pretty much on most of them from then on. And it was great.
And what was your world then? He come and knocked on the door. What were you doing around that time?
Same as it. I mean, I was playing my music, but I was partying. I was, out there just having fun. And obviously, I've been to Ibiza couple of years previous, and we sort of started that journey on a summertime type thing. But I was still out there, all the time, and throughout the weekends.
So in winter time, you were basing yourself in London and thinking, summertime. What was do you remember your first experience in Ibiza? What year
I'll tell you
that was?
my first experience. It was 91. I went with Charlie Chester, who's you may know and may not, those of you in Clubland. He made me take some acid out in a record sleeve. First time in Ibiza, but the airport then was the size of a postage stamp. So literally you went through, and that was my first. The funny thing about it is, this is when Charlie arranged that 1990s like weekend of chilling, the first film as such about Ibiza at the time, which was a cool one. And a man called Adam and Primal Scream and Andy Weatherall and Terry Farley and all that, and Rocky and Diesel and Paul Oakenfold all got flown out to do the party. I went out with him on the summer before the reconnaissance mission to do the reckoning.
How'd that end up?
In a big mess. And he goes, and then he never took me out there. Never to DJ. He said, "I know you're a bit too way out there for us now, bro." What are you talking about? I said, "No, you got." So I watched it, and the video got released. Everyone else went out, and I just said, "Right, I'll go on my own then, mate." And I took my pal Baggy, and we went out there, and that was it.
Yeah, I got the bug in '93. First time I went to Ibiza, got the massive bug thinking, you know what, this nightclub world, this nightclub game, they're doing it the best out there. How can we bring that back to the UK? Was that the same feeling for you when you went out there, Danny?
Nah. I just was loving, no, not at all. I used to love going, Ibiza was nothing to do with the start of Clockwork.
What year did Clockwork start?
Clockwork started in 93, but then we took Clockwork to Ibiza in 94.
Okay.
And then Ibiza was Ibiza, and then we brought that back at that time because then we had that experience of doing the parties there. But we never introduced Ibiza into London before. No.
Basically, if you don't mind, me and Alex have been out in Ibiza.
Yeah,
we were doing, it's tough shit. So anyway, we was at Es Paradise doing residencies various around the island, and because we were the only actually DJs living there, we got offered all the big clubs. Offered us a night. This is why we ended up partying all the time, because we was working 5 on Tuesday, Wednesday. Anyway, so obviously I was doing Clockwork back in England, and I thought this works. It's just ideal for. And I spoke to Es Paradise. He said, "Claire, you've got to get this lot out. They're unbelievable. They're smashing it in London. They're absolutely killing it out here." And they sort of put them in touch. They arranged everything. They came out, and that year it just went from there to there.
Yeah.
It was like putting a match to blowing petrol, mate.
And did it excite you throwing parties in Ibiza, Dan?
I loved it. I was 22 then. 22 doing parties. Es Paradise was my most favourite venue because I'd gone out there in 89 and done the 90, 91, 92, then 93. I was going to go back again for the summer. And then he said, let's take Clockwork out there instead of going out for the summer. And I was like, I don't think we're big enough. Anyway, we went out there, had the meeting, got the thing. He said, you can do the Wednesday. And I was like, wow, I'm 22 doing parties at Es Paradise. How did this happen? Within like a year and a half. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, wow.
Explain to the listeners out there or people watching what Es Paradise was like.
Es Paradise was like one of the top venues. And now, even now, you walk in it and you go, oh my God, it's like a Roman Colosseum in a club, which some people do, but I don't think none of the kids know today that none of the clubs had roofs on them in Ibiza until they made them at the end of in 89. They said, this is your last season. 1990, you've all got to have a roof on them, and they put them all on. And that is one. I've only got two regrets: missing the raves of 89 because I was too young and I weren't earning enough money. And the second was going to an Ibiza nightclub with no roof on it.
Yeah.
They're my only regrets.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And
Es Paradise was just like, wow.
And what was the cap back then? What was the capacity roughly back then? Do you remember?
The capacity of Es Paradise is 1900.
Yeah.
Like they'd never hit that ever.
Yeah.
What's their names? Who's your pal from Leeds?
Oh, Tony Annan.
Yeah, Tony Annan put 2,100 something like that in 1995, and then 97 we put 2.5, and then 1998 every week it went up until in the height of the season we put 3,600 people.
Wow, fair play.
That's double the capacity.
Yeah, fair play.
That's like having 300
Squeeze
people.
Vaseline the door frame, squeeze them all in.
Take half an hour to get across the club, just go and see someone, and then you have to go all the way back.
And also, for me, I mean, Es Paradise was, and I think you said this before, the most beautiful.
Yeah.
Out of all the clubs, because it wasn't, nightclubs typically. I mean, I was fortunate enough to see Amnesia with the roof off, but Es Paradise again, it wasn't. You walk in, you'd think, wow, I'm in paradise.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. I'm in paradise. The water parties, and there was cushions around the dance floor,
Trees, flowers,
and then you used to. It was like you were walking into a cocoon of loveliness.
Yeah,
and
beautiful club, wasn't it?
Yeah, incredible. And like in comparison to the other big clubs on the island, like Coo, and Coo's unique in its own way, privilege. Amnesia again, another wonderful. They were all. unique. There's nothing around the world similar to these because I just don't think there was something about Ibiza which made these clubs the way they were. They were decorated in a way, they were built in a certain way. They were just, it was so organic.
Yeah. So special, weren't they? Did you ever go to the outdoor club called Festival Club?
You're talking about...
Up in the derelict one at the moment. You go up into Ibiza.
Oh no, you're talking. It looks like the Colosseum.
The Colosseum outdoors.
The ball ring where Bob Marley did last concert. Been up there. It's incredible. It's all the concrete tables.
Mate.
It's amazing. And you can feel the energy.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah,
and there's no one there. It's derelict. You walk in there, you're like, my God, energy. It's all been graffitied up now. And
what a waste of space.
What a waste of space.
Yeah,
I'm surprised no one's grabbed that and gone, you know what, let's chuck a couple of mil or whatever it needs to turn it into.
Putting a party there, and I was like, but you imagine now, like health and safety.
No, you wouldn't be.
That would be nothing.
But I mean, back in the day, we used to have parties in the quarries. Do you remember, like the Tribe and the Italians? We used to do parties in the quarries, and we'd climb up the mountains on the side and have these parties which were, down in little valleys. MTV did a party in one of the quarries there, which myself and Alex was on. Clockwork did. Well, just smashed everything really. What was
your involvement? What was your involvement in MTV?
Well, myself, we present at that time. Myself and Alex, I think we were just we were busy, and we were asked to do an MTV tour, which involved Ibiza, and then obviously MTV were big in the music world, weren't they? So for them, they were like the Radio 1 weekend before it came to Radio 1 weekend. So they did like this big MTV festival in the Quarry, which went right off. I think at 2,000 people, which again back in them days was a lot of people. Yeah, not like now. Obviously,
more than 2,000, I think.
What, in that Quarry?
I think they did. Yeah. Yeah, more
whatever.
No one would know.
It was breaking all like records for people attending.
It cleared me out on the Wednesday. That's what I know.
They were competing with you?
On Tuesday, I think. The Wednesday, and we was dead.
Oh, really? Was it that week?
Yeah, cleared it out.
Was it? So, what was your journey, Blocko? Your journey becoming a superstar DJ. How did that come about?
I don't know. I don't think it's something. I don't think
was there one point you went, you know what, this is a turning point. I'm going to break the back of this. And
no. I don't think. To be honest, I don't think I ever thought I'd end up like that, and I've never looked at it as being like that. I always did it because I suppose it happened, and I'm very grateful that it did happen in a way. It wasn't something I aspired to. It was something that just happened. So I think when people start going. When I started getting off TV stuff, and I was, but don't forget, I was still out my nut most of the time until like '96. So actually, a lot of the stuff that I suppose you would call fame or success came after that. When I finally stopped, doing all the gear. Yeah. So at that time, we was just partying, and I think I'm not going to speak for him, but I think those first years up to 96 for me when I stopped, but before that was just partying. I had no outside view of what was going on. We were just having fun and playing music and playing at the best clubs in the world, playing in space.
You was grafting, though, weren't you?
But we didn't think it was great. I wouldn't call it graft. I would call it having fun because you never sat home and go.
Grafting still at the same time.
Yeah, of course, but I didn't know that then. I wouldn't say. I'd sit at the end and go, or count me money and say, put that in the bank. It was just like,
chisel.
We're cool. Yeah, exactly. I never got the money. It went straight over there.
As we know, all the dough you brought in,
it never got.
Did most of it go up your hooter?
It didn't go brought in. It was just allocated.
It was allocated.
It was dedicated before it came in. I just thought, right, can you send that there? You'll send that over there, and I'll just give me what comes in the middle, and I'll get rid of it. And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
There was no income or outgoing. There was no balance sheet.
So let's roll back a little bit here. There must have been a year. You're saying 93. You were going IB for 91, 92, 93. There must have been a year when you've gone. Me and Alex on this, all the CDs. We're on the biggest clubs. So there must have been a period.
Probably around 90. Probably probably on the back of Clockwork starting in Ibiza is when we did CDs, and we got like probably after, and then because what happened before that was. As I was saying, myself and Alex were the only people living on the island, DJs, staying there for the whole summer for like 6-7 months. So
you're the original pioneers of staying there all summer?
Well, probably. I mean, obviously without the Spanish DJs, obviously.
British
but I think so. Yeah. I mean, obviously there were resident people who were in bars, but we were like freelance, let's say. Yeah. So we were playing at Space, down to Alex, and then obviously because on the back of Space being the club that it was absolutely incredible. And everyone went there, literally. That was the place to go throughout the whole week. Wherever you'd been, everywhere else, everyone would get there on a Sunday. And on the back of that, we got offered all these other gigs for every other club on the island. So, from 92 92, 91, 92, we were working every single night.
That's to do with Alan Woolman as well, though, isn't it?
Well, that was well, but he then mad on Mondays. But then but I think the clubs
Mondays,
themselves.
Wednesdays, Thursdays.
Who did Alan? Did he?
Yeah, he done Amnesia, he done Coup, he done all of them.
I might have been that. Well, yeah. I mean, but so we were the go-tos basically
So how many nights out are you working, grafting, and partying?
every night. Every night, literally. I maybe having a Saturday night off, which you'd think was strange, but no, Saturday was. But you probably need to have a sleep by then anyway.
Yeah.
Which we did generally.
Saturday was a shit day, wasn't it? Saturday was the major changeover back in the day.
Yeah, you're
It was a
right,
weekly
actually, because
trip.
people flew in and flew out. So Saturday wasn't a great day to go out.
So
Sunday was more.
never do a party on a Saturday. But one year I went, fuck it, I'm going to do a Saturday, and it was terrible.
Dan, and tell me through your world, you've been a promoter now for 30 years. In 92, 93, when you started doing it, did you find that you were more warm into Ibiza or more warm into London throwing your parties?
No, I loved it. Was separate. I loved London and I loved Ibiza. It simply was. That was it. I loved Ibiza. I fell in love with Ibiza in 89, 90 when I went to Amnesia. 91, 92, blah blah blah, and they were the two. But it was Ibiza that made Clockwork.
Yeah.
Because you was talking about earlier on going out in London, and you go out on a Wednesday and there'd be a launch or an awards or something, wouldn't you? And then Thursday night, another thing, there'd be like launching something. And then Friday started, Saturday started, Sunday you could end up somewhere else. But it wasn't until, so we had a lot of London competition.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we went to Ibiza in 94 and we came back, and then people were coming from Nottingham, from Leeds, from like Bournemouth, from Kent. Everybody started to it made it more nationwide in the UK club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me some of the clubs you were throwing parties in London that really spring to mind. You go, you know what, that was a banger. That's one of my favourites.
Oh, the Cross.
Cross,
yeah,
That was the original Camden Palace. When we done that, we did our first ever Ibiza reunion, March 1995 at the Cross. Yeah.
At the Cross, what was the cap there? Do you remember?
I think now it's 1400, 14 to 16. I think most of it, I don't know, it was about 2.6.
2.6.
When I tell the new managers that now, they're like, what?
What?
Another 900. You're off your nut. It was rocking. One of my best memories, August 1998, me and Danny Newman, who owned Turnmills, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Danny from Turnmills.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm sitting in the DJ box. I'd flown back from Ibiza for it. I was literally there for like 2 days. And I remember sitting in the DJ box, can't remember who was playing, looking up. And I swear to you, the whole club was like rocking. And I looked at him and he went,
yeah.
It was special. That was a memory just like that. Wow.
Was that at Turnmills?
No, that was at Camden for Clockwork.
Oh,
Camden.
Clockwork. And then the next morning, no sleep, jumped straight on a plane, went back, and as he said, you went to space. I couldn't miss space.
Yeah, space was the daddy, wasn't it?
I had to be back for space.
Yeah. I was a bit gutted when space went and they brought out the new one.
Hi,
yeah.
I was totally. I mean, look. To be honest, I have so many.
High's good, mate. To be fair, as you go in, if you go in there, you go, fair enough. You can see why the younger generation would absolutely love this, but I don't know if we're getting older. We reminisce about old stuff.
Actually, I went into Hive once. I've only been in once. I went in last year. I think it was actually after Amnesia that night at the Clockwork, not the last year before. It was so crowded, mate. Yeah. I couldn't walk. And they used a toilet, the old space toilet, which used to be on the left. I got confused
with a DJ in there.
Yeah, it's called the Wild Room or whatever, but it was the old toilet. And the actual, if you push the doors, they're like concealed. You're in the bog and you're on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So I fell into one trying to get out. And I did, honestly, I was like walking down the wall and I was like, I'm in the back of the door. I'm telling you. And I thought, God, this is just, I can't.
Change, isn't it? Yeah.
I had to hold my hands up to get out of the place.
Yeah.
But, I mean, space was
special.
It's very special. It was a unique.
That's the word I was going to say, unique.
Yeah. It was just unique. It was the first ever after hour which was open during the day around the world. Those parties didn't exist. They weren't a thing. So what Alex and James created was an idea which worked, and there's a loop in the license, right? Back in them days, it was called a Cafe Concerto license, which meant you could have food, dancing, and you could basically stay open. You had to shut for an hour. And this is why you could stay open at any time, because no one knew that you'd have to shut for an hour. You'd only shut for an hour. So everyone probably thought, well, we'll shut at 6 in the morning, open again at night. Whereas Space, shut in the morning, inside in the morning, had an hour gap where me and myself, Alex, were on the terrace. And then you'd open again, because there was a loop in this license. So you could open in the morning. And Pepe said, well, I'm going to open in the morning with Alex. And Dad said, here's our party. And then obviously everyone used to come, all the promoters used to come, and it was the pilgrimage every Sunday morning.
Everybody went, didn't
Absolutely.
Literally everyone went.
Everybody went.
And what was your movements, Danny? What were your movements after that 94, 95? How did you start growing your brand over the last 30 years?
In the 90s, it was the old way. You think when Clockwork started in 93, there was no internet.
Yeah.
There was no internet. You tell that to kids now and they go, oh, what?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There was no social media. It was posters and flyers and word of mouth and magazines and
a big orange van.
Yeah, the big orange van in 97 and 98. Yeah, but it was just hard work walking up and down the beaches and doing it.
Proper graft, really.
It was proper graft. But we didn't know any different, though. So it was okay. Because you're thinking...
It's the only way you could do it.
Of course. If you're talking to them and getting flyers and chatting to people, they could be paying people on the door. So it's worth the graft.
It's marketing. Yeah. That's exactly how it is.
I think it's going to come back round again. Social media is easy. I think so.
Well, it's the personal touch. This is the thing. And you're right. And I think, there's a lot of people who say, like vinyl. Let's say vinyl. Vinyl's come back because there's an emotional attachment to it. The whole thing about,
just to explain vinyl to the listeners, and listeners might not know what vinyl is.
It's a black round thing.
Yes,
like a frisbee.
12 inches wide.
Sounds like the chief.
It's got a hole in the middle.
And it's got these groove things.
And it goes about 45 miles per hour.
You put a needle on it.
So basically, vinyl is a form of music that's made from vinyl. It's the way it was an analog way that music was played on decks. You've all seen SL1200s, the original Technic decks, and that's how it did. But obviously, more recently, it's moved from module to digital, which started with CDs. Now moves on to a memory stick because you can have a waveform on your MP3 files, let's say, and play them through the new media which is available. So anyway, vinyl's making a comeback massively, which is
it's a deeper sound than it. It's a richer sound. It's that crackle.
Yeah, and you get a crackle and stuff.
Kids won't get that though.
No.
See, we grew up with that and a crackle. I think you associate that with good music.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Well, it's rare as well because you used to have to search high and low for so you'd hear one record, you're a DJ, like for instance, I'm just going to use Alfredo for an example, and the Balearic sound, let's say, he would play way out indie type music within the middle of a disco-y type set, right? And you go, oh my God, you get it because you're in that moment, and there's a reason for that. He had an amazing talent to say, right, because like if you go back to your 80s growing up, you're not just got a list of disco records. You've got a list of 80s pop, 80s electro, Human League. I mean, you're just for pop bands who all made records. You think, and you listen to them now, you go, God, I love it. I love it. And even back then, you'd have a secret guilty pleasure.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you like the Human League? Go, no. Sister Sledge, mate, all day long. Underground jazz funk, man. But we all got a deep rooted, affinity and emotional attachment to that music. So that vinyl, you'd search high and low for that vinyl.
Go find out the name first.
And the name, because usually what you'd have is a record sleeve. All the DJs used to had a habit of, they had this one, what would you call it? Just a practice at the time, a habit of covering the record labels with white labels so you can't see the name because they want to keep it and write fuck off on it. So everyone would go, oh, I love this, what is it? And they go, and you go, oh, right.
But now that's Shazam it. That's the thing. You Shazam it.
And how amazing is that? Shazam.
I know.
There's a tune on, bang, straight on your phone.
It's like Spotify, isn't it?
How did it change? How did it change for you guys with that whole music, especially self-producing music, making music? How did that world change that your money changed, that you could create music and all of a sudden it's gone on Spotify and people aren't earning as much and they get a 0.0003p per track or whatever?
I mean, for me personally, and I think the whole thing about technology is it's a slower learning process. I don't dive in like I used to when I was a kid and be able to learn like you lot do. To be able to learn how to use this stuff, you get an idea of it. But I think the most tedious thing was burning all my vinyl onto CD, which you had to do one by one, and you did that at a time. So now what's happened is, as I say, you can get your playlist, you can get your music library. The good thing about it is, you can tap into, you can get a hard drive that holds 5,000 tunes. So you can go to a gig and you go, right, I know what's going to work now. And I know where it is. It's here. Yeah. Whereas if you go to your vinyl, you've got that many vinyls. You search, you find it. But I wish I'd bought that one. Because you used to, each week, remember, you used to go through your vinyl and dig out, I'll take that one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one. Because you can only take that many. And then you think, oh, fuck it.
But you was gigging hard though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was playing like. I mean, look,
he was playing like.
What's your take? What's your take on Brandon when you were looking at the age of 21, growing up through those years with him? How would you explain Brandon back in the day?
No, well, he was someone that because we'd just come around, he was someone that I aspired to be like.
Yeah.
Because it was like, Blocko's this nutter who's just made it on the thing. And I'm like, well, I knew I was. Yeah. And I was like, I want to be like that. Do you know what I mean? And that was it. So then in Ibiza, it was like, these guys and then nutters in Ibiza, and I was coming out, I was like, I want to take their crown. I aspired to be like that. It's as simple as it is. And then I said to people in 98, Ministry Mag done top 10 nutters of the decade.
Did they?
And him and Brandon come first, and I was upset.
He was third.
I was third. I was pissed off, right? I was pissed off because I was like, I know I'm fucking mad. I know I'm mad. Why is nothing happening? I had cuts all over me, madness was smashing me teeth in car crashes. I was like, I'd gone. The next year I'd actually gone. I deserve this. Started seeing fucking ghosts and all this shit. And I was like, I deserve it. Next year I got Cana of the Summer. I was like, fuck yes. And he's like, what an accolade. I was like, oh my God. And my mate rang me up from England. He went, all right. I went, yeah. He went, everything all right? I went, yeah. He went, sure. I went, yeah. He went, you're all over the magazines, like fucking top Cana here, doing this, smashing things up, car crashes. I went, mate, this is the bollocks. That was it. Do you know what I mean?
What was your lifestyle, Danny? Would you say when you found Ibiza, did it just speed everything up with the drugs and booze and everything that went with it?
The more success you had, the more opportunity you had to spend more money. Yeah. So, I've always said this, if I'd have carried on in construction or something like that, earning £300-400 a week, I would have only had a limit to how much I bought unless I ticked it.
Yeah.
When you started earning more money, then you moved into like the half-ounce of gear. You was drinking every night and it was like bottles of champagne and then just moved on. It allowed your tolerance to increase greatly the more money you had.
So you were out there roughly 91 onwards. What year do you reckon you hit a point where you're peak of partying?
Me personally?
Yeah, you personally.
I think Clockwork, we had the best year of our lives in 98. 99 I always describe as the last of the great Ibiza summers for me. Yeah. It was like a movie. Yeah. Fucking car crashes, as I said, fighting with midgets, arrested, this, that, the other, great parties, stuff you don't talk about. And in 2000 it went down.
Yeah.
And then that's when like the beauty of it had gone. I carried on partying, but that's when the beauty had gone, the success.
Did you get yourself in any trouble out there in Ibiza with the old Bill?
Only once for the car crash.
What happened there?
I arrived in 99, and it was literally as soon as you landed, it was that I'm going Ibiza, drink on a plane. I've been on a plane with him, Graham Gould, and some other people, which I never did, and they was all in the toilets, coming in and out of the toilets on the back of the plane once, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? Even I wouldn't do that on a plane. All kind of sitting like this. So I arrived in 99, and as soon as I arrived, it was like, and then someone picked me up. I remember going to San Ann, and it was just like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So I remember grabbing loads of gear. I had like a pocket full of gear, like 6 fingers, drinking thing, and I was drinking neat vodka, and I thought, I'm going to go back to the villa and just get smashed. I remember driving up this Paradise little road that used to be outside. It was a 2-way road. And people diving out the way, knocking him with a wing mirror. And from Paradise to where I had the car crash, I don't remember. So I went into blackout. Yeah. And so I drove on automatic pilot for about 6 or 7 miles. And then it was on the mountain road. It was only literally about 2 miles away from where it was. A 100-foot drop one side, and I'd veered onto the left in blackout. All I can remember is the loudest crunch. I can still hear it in my head today. I come round. Where you are now, the guy was there in his van, the concertina in. He was out cold, smoke. I broke my teeth, dislocated my jaw. My hands went through the windscreen. I busted the steering wheel, buckled it with my chest and done all my chest in. The dashboard was in my legs. I remember coming round and the policeman was like, blow into this. And I had to blow into a breathalyzer. And this is what I love about the Spanish police. You just don't mess about them. And he went, blow into this. As well like that, I'd split my lip in half. I was going like that. And I went, and he thought I was joking. So he gave me a clump. About 4 times he tried to make me do it. 4 times he knocked me out in a car crash. Then he decided to he went, see a lump in my pocket. I had a bottle of vodka on the chair as well. He's leant in, he's gone, ¿Qué es esto? What is this in Spanish? And I went, and he just done me again 6 times. Yeah. That time I got nicked. That is it. That's the only time I got nicked. The other time they wanted to nick me when they found loads of stuff in my bedroom, went to the police station to hold my hands up because we'd been burgled the night before. And there was no one in the police station. There was no one else going, hello. No one there. I was like, hello.
What, they nicked you?
No.
Took you to the station?
No, we got burgled.
Yep.
I was in this Paradise with a Clockwork,
Yep.
with Jeremy Ely and blah, blah, blah. I ended up taking him back to Pikes in the back of the van and driving at about 50 mile an hour and he's just slinging him all over the place. And when I went back in the morning, like I had no sleep, and Andy went, because we got burgled, the police came to assess it. They went into my bedroom and they went, I had a potpourri thing like that, and behind it was like a dust from about 1,000 pills sitting about that deep. We just went home and went like that, and they went, "Who's it, Andy?" It's not mine. It's not mine. It's Danny's bedroom. He went, "I want to speak to this, Danny." So I went to hold up and say, "I didn't put it there. The burglars must have put it there." And the next week at Paradise, I didn't see him there. Next Paradise, his car's turned up. There's like 1,000 people in the queue, and I'm talking on the door, and these 2 police come out, and the window went down. And they just look at me like that. And I went, oh, fuck. The security guard, Paco, who used to run the door, who I absolutely adore. I love that man. And he went, give me a minute. And the thing is about Spanish people. Yeah. They're all cousins.
Butter
and
them
friends.
up.
He was like, yeah. And as they drove off, they just looked at me like that. And he went, don't worry about it. It's all sorted. And I went, oh, fuck that. That was it. Never got caught.
Amazing. Blocko.
How long we got?
How long we got? Blocko. How many times you been nicked in Ibiza?
I've not. No. Do you know what? This is,
or how many times you nearly been nicked? in
No.
Ibiza?
So it was once. It's quite. I say it's. We used to. We'd had this altercation with one of our hire cars, right? I think the people in it and the people driving it. We were driving it. We had an altercation. We did a Basel 40 on the main road between Santa and so all of a sudden, we all had wigs on. We'd been out for the night. We all had wigs on. And we decided we'd have a thrashing of the car with all the palm leaves. So there's 6 of us around this car in broad daylight, about midday, on the road between San Ann and Ibiza Town, thrashing this car, right? And so the Guardian turned up, who knew us, because back in the day they knew everyone, and they said, right, Brandon, in the van. I went, no problem. And my other mate went, don't get in the van. I went, they're all right. They're pals, come on. And he went, no, come on. So he got in the car. We ended up in the station and they said, get your records out. I had to take my records because they thought, we're going to get him now. And they searched every single bit of vinyl. They took every bit out, 2 record boxes going to find some gear.
Yeah.
There's none there. They said, get in the cell. So I said, it's all me. And I was on the floor. I mean, he's going, beg me, please, nick me. It was me. I did everything wrong. And he said, Brandon, fucking get out. When he kicked me up the arse. And then on the way out, they had some Dobermans, which were they're guard dogs, but we was playing to them. And they were, get out, fucking did. All the guard dogs were licking us everything. So that was my first. I actually went to court in Spain. Someone denounced me, right?
Denounced?
It's like a
summons.
Summons. Like an accident. If you can say to someone, like, so nightclubs get denounced when they play music too loud, or you could. It's like So this guy, I don't know if you remember, he's outside this Paradise actually. We got into a fight, and I say a fight, it was a running battle. We was all drunk, so he was falling all over the place, tripping up and hitting our heads on the curb. So some kids would try to stab me. Yeah. And he then denounced me, right? He's trying to stab me and then denounced me. I mean, I had to go to court on this. It turns out he was, he was a homeless person, and they known to the court. But so I got arrested and I got taken to court. And for Ariel, remember Ariel? Ariel used to be the doorman at Space, and he actually went out with Sonic for a fair time. Great guy. Remember Ariel? Yeah. Ariel did the same thing for me, advocated for me at the court, and actually, so I was in Spanish court, and back in the day, I was like, "Wow, what I'm doing here?" Type thing, and that's
it's even scarier when you can't speak the language.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank God, I touched wood, but I'd never really done anything wrong in Ibiza.
You say you hadn't done anything wrong. What nutty moments have you done in your life in Ibiza? Like, climbing from balcony to balcony in hotels. What else of stuff you done?
Natural, wasn't it? That came with the territory, didn't it?
Yeah.
The madness.
The norm.
Yeah.
I've jumped over
Can
walls.
you be arrested for madness in the sense of doing?
Forget the arrested bit, but let's go into the madness bit. Stuff when you're off your nut and you've done stuff.
I climbed to 3 stories up the apartment block I was staying on the outside. So I scaled 3 balconies to knock on my mate the window because my pal was not answering the door to me because he didn't want to let me in. So I had to climb up the outside to try and get in through the balcony. Yeah, risks.
Yeah.
Like risks.
Yeah.
I jumped over one wall with me and Alex had a tear up. I've jumped over one wall. I mean, there was a big car park. They built a ditch, 35-foot ditch where the Cafe Del Mar was. Remember the old car park out the side? Well, they decided to excavate because they were going to build what's now the Cafe Del Mar new bit. But it was a hole. It used to be a car park. And like one week we went back and next week it's not. It's a big 30-foot gap. So I've dived over the wall and literally managed, there was a ledge. And so Alex, they looked over the top like that. I was sitting on this ledge. I've literally jumped over and I was, for whatever reason, risks, and ended up sitting on the ledge. So, and I've jumped between 2 buildings, 2 apartment blocks on the space on Playa de Bossa, and it was about 6 foot apart. So
Hold on. You jumped between 2 buildings.
Yeah, and ended up with doing that. And I had to hold on before they could run from the building we was all in to come round the other one to pull me up because I'd gone too far. They couldn't jump across to get it.
It's like it was just a normal, wasn't it?
What about you, Dan? What sort of risks have you had out in Ibiza?
But listen, let me first say, this is not stuff you try at home under the influence of fucking many different substances.
Do not do this.
Do not do this by any means. But yeah.
Dan, what about you, mate?
I don't know, really. It was just a normal. So like a normal night with. I've told.
Hold on, I love that. This is just the norm.
No,
but I hear you.
What it was is you got bored with doing normal mad stuff. So it was like, what else are we going to do? So this in '97 we was doing the Roma parties where we did this big procession through the streets.
Oh God, yeah, remember
the security
that?
guard took us to a butcher's up the back of San An. And he went through and all that, and then you went through to the back bit, and he had these illegal fireworks. And these illegal fireworks were about that big. We called them the governors, about that big. They blow a hole in anything. They probably blow a hole in this table.
Yeah.
They were explosives.
Yeah.
The geezer must have made them himself. If we used to go Sacapaya, nice restaurant. Fuck this. When you walked outside, like proper, it's like a SWAT squad.
Yeah.
Like that. Go boom.
Yeah.
You see the waiters just come out and go, fucking girl, all smoke. People in their dinner. Or Mambo's. I got banned from Mambo's. They said, that's it. No more. Fuck. Threw in the bar. Geezers come out. 6 of them, all the waiters with baseball bats. Yeah, I went, it was me. He went, for fuck's sake. Avi come out, went, that's it, banned for life. I used to have to sit on the wall opposite.
So he banned you from Mambo's?
He banned me from Mambo's for life. Yeah, I had to sit on the wall opposite while everyone else was inside. And then people would bring me out a drink. Don't bring him drinks. Like, don't feed the madness. Yeah. We didn't have the keys. I remember being drunk one night, didn't have no keys, and these boys were winding me up. So I remember like that. And then we got to the villa. So I was like, I ain't got no keys. So I punched the bathroom window through. And I sliced my arm down here. I cut it. And if it had gone that way, I'd have been dead.
Later.
Woke up in bed. Woke up off my head. And I was like, turns out they've been blowing gear up my nose while I was asleep. I went downstairs. Everyone's on it. And I went, where's my bag? This is my first night in Ibiza. Where's my bag? They went, it's in the pool. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, the pool's all still, my bag's in the bottom of the pool. Oh, you fuckers. Dived in and got it, bring my bag out, bag's full of rocks, all my clothes are hanging in the wardrobe. I'm like, I'm dripping wet. So they're all sitting in the living room, like 1 gram of gear between about 8 of them. I went, oh, you're so out of order. That fucking teacher. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm going, 4 o'clock in the morning, dripping wet, all this blood all over me, arm cut. Yeah, and then I'm like, are we going to get any more? They're all going, we're going to bed now.
Yeah. How do you think your mates would explain your behaviour at your peak?
You got a multitude. You got annoying, crazy. It was drink. I was outlandish mad anyway. But as soon as I had a drink, it just went like that.
Yeah.
It was like you turned it on, just like bosh. Do you know what I mean? Or a line of gear or something, just like bosh. Yeah. It magnified whatever now people probably look at as mental health issues.
Yeah.
It just set it on fire. Literally set it on fire. he's a nice guy, that Danny Gould, but he can turn into an arsehole when he's had a drink. I'm sure you've probably led that, where, you know, you say the wrong thing, or you're horrible to people, or just like you turn around and like you're smashing something or blowing something up or something. It was just, I had no control over it. It just went, like that.
Where do you think that come from? Has that come from anything from being a child or growing up? Did you have like a normal, nice mum and dad, nice calm family? Was it
my mum was an alcoholic. We lived in like nigh on poverty. Do you know what I mean? It was where the food's going to come from? Where's your mum? She ain't come home. Yeah. Getting drunk at 8. You know, I was telling someone the other day. My mum used to leave me in our block of flats as well. My mum wasn't one of them. She got given a flat. It was a 2-bedroom block.
Where are we talking here?
Chadwell in Essex.
Okay.
And they used to send, in them days, what they called like the mental home. They used to send the people from the mental home to this block of flats. It was 3 stories, 2 on each side, 12 flats. You had a lady called Sandra who used to cut herself, and you hear her screaming in the night. So then she'd be going in and out of hospital. Recluse called John, whose curtains, you know, like recluses where it was all black. Everything was black through dirt and whatever. My mum used to leave me in a flat with this hunchback geezer downstairs, and the recluse John. He'd wander down in his slippers and his dressing gown, and she'd just leave me in there all day long, like listening to like Charge and Light Brigade on headphones like this. Honestly. God. So, you know, different world. Yeah. Different world. And that's where you come from, like the 70s and the 80s. Trying to explain what kids are going through like now. In the 70s and the 80s.
Free for all, wasn't it?
Different world.
Yeah, I hear you.
Different world.
I hear
Punks on every street. And
well, because it wasn't, you just didn't know about it, did you? Because it wasn't out there. You know, those little pockets of, well, I've never heard that before, but that's quite profound sort of growing up. I've never known that, mate, but...
no, but it's true. But it made you a survivor.
Yep.
See, we didn't have nothing, right? So all my clothes are second hand, yeah? When you had food, so like sometimes it was dry spaghetti. If your mum weren't there and she was out and she was doing whatever she was doing for the day, I'd eat dry spaghetti. Or if it was in the summer, you'd go and eat apples or you'd nick milk. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it made me a survivor. It made you creative. That's the difference. I don't look at it and go, oh, poor me. Never have I ever done that. Yeah. That made me a survivor. Yeah. If I want to drink something and there's a bottle of orange juice, because the posh people down the road used to get it delivered in the morning, I'm fucking having that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm having that. Or you go through the allotments and nick stuff like that. Or then you went into like Fever. I used to go into like supermarkets and all that and steal stuff, and fucking was like a scene out of a Train Spotting, like the beginning where you ran down the street, fat geezer, sweating. Fuck off. And all the pens, we used to nick all the pens and throw out like all the marker pens, file them in the air, fuck off. I went into, you brought back a memory, I went into a 7-Eleven. And it's like that addiction. So I used to go in there and have a couple of Yorkies, and then you think you're getting away with it. You know, I come back and I get 10. And I thought, fucking hell. So I went in there once, and I remember like putting a thing around my arms like that. And I was just going in there, and I was going along. I was getting all the Star Bars and Kit Kats. It was fucking full before I got this. As I go outside, the kids went, excuse me. And I went, and they all just went like that, because it was like I was just falling like a fountain on the floor, and the guys were like, and I went, I remember running across the road, busy road, and as I run that way, car missed me that way, as I run that way, cars missed me that way, within a second. You're talking about how we got away with things. I think sometimes they are guardian angels. That's another story. I ran, I didn't stop, and I didn't go back ever into 7-Eleven again. It taught me. From that moment on, I didn't do it. Yeah. I didn't do it after that.
Blocko, yourself, mate, growing up, what was it like, your life like growing up as a kid?
I've hearing Danny's story then, I mean, mine wasn't similar in that way. But I mean, look, my parents divorced at a time for me which obviously was my traumatic. I mean, I found it traumatic, whatever it was.
How old were you roughly?
10, 11. Yeah. But I mean, I was bullied at school, and so I made my nutter to protect myself, to make sure that I didn't get bullied anymore. So I became like
you in with the cool, with the cool kids, basically.
I was fortunate enough to get taken by the cool kids, because I love my music. So I always loved my music. So I got taken into the lunchtime disco. We were allowed lunchtime discos back then, so it was like in a house room, and you know, I'd learned how to dance in there with all the big lads, and you know, like do robotics and jazz dancing. So that was my protector, let's say. And then moving forward, obviously, we found a bottle of Thunderbird at the age of 13, and thought, I have some of this, and nicked a bottle of Thunderbird, and there was no looking back, and then carried on. then fags. At like 12 or 13, because obviously mum and dad are arguing all the time, and it wasn't long till they separated. But so that was my sort of rebellion as such. I mean, I've said this the other day. Someone asked me about this. I don't remember a lot about my childhood as such.
I remember loads.
Do you remember loads?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I remember my first day at primary school when I was 4.
No.
47 years.
I think.
But I can't remember.
Your mind
how
sometimes.
got here today.
Your mind sometimes blacks out. Somebody. Hey, what's that?
Nice to meet you, PC. Fucking hell.
So Danny was.
Come in here, quick.
Dan was talking about getting banned from clubs and being mad things. Did you get banned from clubs and stuff?
Yeah, of course. I got banned from a couple. From in between sets, I was caught in the toilet a couple of times and asked to leave by the bouncers with my records playing. I said, I've got to really, no, you're out, and that was it.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
whereabouts?
That was up in Burnley, I think.
Was it?
Yeah. Got thrown out between sets.
And what about your lifestyle in Ibiza? How did that affect how you are when you gave up drugs and drink and stuff? When you look back now to explain to the listener or the viewer, this was my lifestyle for that period of time. How would you explain that?
Christ. I mean, look, I was talking to Danny about this earlier. So the amount of drugs I took, right, had a really detrimental effect on my mental health, right? It's stimulant and it really screws you up, especially when taking that much. I was saying to him, I was functioning. I was a functioning cocaine addict, right? Which meant I wasn't doing all this when I was taking it. It was norm. So I could look, I wouldn't necessarily look, and I'd had more gear than you could ever probably imagine having in a day, and I was all right with it. So I was used to it. But what it did leave me with was like a war in my head. Like, so when I stopped, it was like a bomb going off all the time. And the anxiety and the fear was I can't even describe how bad it was. I was sitting in a room like this for days on end, waiting for these panic attacks to go away. And then eventually I'd have like one day and it would go, I'd have a deep breath because it'd leave me. And then literally like the day later, boom, full on again. And I'd be like that for another. And it wasn't like I had a light bulb moment go, yeah, I'm out, I'm free. It was never like that. Right, it was like a slow, painful process of like, so maybe I'd get 2 days in a week's time. Then I maybe get 3 days in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So slowly your mind comes back. So I mean, it was. I would never suggest that anyone goes down that road. And if you, I'm going to say this now. If you ever find yourself in that trouble, reach out and get some help because it's not a good place. Yeah. But I look. It wasn't about. It was never about. I don't think for me, the drugs were. Incidental. They were there because they heightened the moment. Didn't mean I didn't love my music. I always loved my music, and I'd always been passionate about my music. So when you first go into a detox or something, they say, right, you've got to look at your life. It's not like you go, what? I've got to look at my life. What do you mean? Well, you've got to change your life. You know, you can't just carry on like this. And I go, well, I want to carry on like this. I just won't take drugs. Well, it's not really going to work like that. So all this information comes and you go, really? And you've got to look at here and you've got to look at here and you've got to look at all this other stuff that you just think is going to be all right once you stop taking drugs, but it's not. No. It's not at all. It's the beginning of your sort of your life journey. But I wasn't going to stop playing music. I wasn't going to stop going to Ibiza because, you know, I loved it and I knew that deep under all this fear and anxiety, I could still do what I did. And I just went back and I didn't drink or take drugs. And
how much gear could you get through in a day at your peak, do you think?
Well, the last lot of use it was approximately, I say this, I'm just thinking about my routine because I remember I used to go and pick up certain amounts at certain times a day and that was my whole routine. Around 28-ish, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. 28? Yeah. About, I'm just thinking about
28
amounts.
What?
Grams.
A day?
Yeah. You
are joking me.
No, that was it. That was when I was my last bit of before I went into the clinic. And it was it was horrendous. It was an existence.
28 grams of cocaine. Jesus Christ,
I'm averaging it out, mate.
Yeah.
It wasn't like...
If that's an average, I want to know what the most was.
It was 3.5 for breakfast, 3.5 for mid-morning brunch.
You think the tolerances are going up?
Yeah, that's my problem.
You're stretching your tolerance.
Yeah. My constitution was...
Yeah, he stretched it.
And then mine was huge. My constitution was like mental. And like, so when I went into the clinic and I stopped and I came out, I drank, I carried on drinking. And I drank for 3 days without, I could do that because my tolerance was down, you know, I could, and my constitution. And then my psychiatrist, who was my mentor to this day, and he's like the head psychiatrist at the Priory. He was, you know, the most prolific authority on cocaine addiction back in them days.
Yeah.
And he's still my mentor to this day, and I love him to bits. He saved my life. But
What's his name?
Dr. William Shanahan.
Big shout out to him.
Big shout out to Bill. I still keep in touch with him, and he refers people to me now because he's, he says, I want you to, can you help this person, blah, blah, blah. But he said, you've started substituting, it's called. So I've started taking alcohol to replace the cocaine, but drinking more.
But did not alcohol give you the trigger to say, right, I want to have a line?
No, it didn't work like that for me.
No,
I think it does create another drug in your brain called cocoethylene, which is why people say when you're in the pub, you go, call it on. Yeah. Let's have a pint, call it on. Yeah. Although it my decision, I was saying, Dan, my decision was so powerful about whether I was going to continue doing this or not. It just it sort of broke the neural pathway, if that makes sense. Yeah. Which was powerful to do that back then. It broke that one, severed it, and I'm very grateful to it.
Is that what year? What year are we talking when you severed it?
96.
96. So what year you been banging gear for? From what year?
So 88 I started, and I don't think there was. I think let's say from 1989 there wasn't one day I had missed having drugs in 8 years.
Wow.
Or 7 years. Wow. Not one day.
Wow.
I got on the mic once at Camden on New Year's Eve and I went, Blocko's giving up the gear.
Yes, that was at 96.
No one said nothing. Because I'm like, Blocko's giving up the gear. And went, what?
It was like,
a bit fuck all. That's what I mean?
Yeah, whatever.
I was so proud of him. He's giving up the gear. 2,000 people.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I'll give him that. Yeah.
Sort yourself out.
Go on, give up again tomorrow. Go on, son. But honestly, people just didn't believe it. It wasn't something, that was not in the realm of thinking.
Yeah, okay.
You was the first, weren't you?
So if you, so you're leading the way as a pioneer going, I've smashed it harder than anyone else. You're not far behind him.
No, I'm years behind him.
Years behind it, but probably not far. But you get to 96. Is that the last time you had a line of cocaine?
I had what's known as a slip a month later because people who know will know that you have triggers, things that trigger you.
Yeah. I was 6 months.
Yeah.
So I went to a gig and I'd stopped and I was still, my fingers felt like it was horrible.
So give me an example. When you stopped, you're like, well, I'm done, I'm stopped, and you said you had a month off. What was that feeling like every single day? You clutching, thinking, I need to go and get some more. What was the feeling going through?
No, I'd forgotten the gear. But what I was dealing with now is my personal anxiety, fear. Yeah. But so powerful that I was sitting in the corner like this going, and that's what I was doing. I went to 12-step recovery for like 3 months. I did the prescribed.
Did you do the whole 12 steps? Did you finish it?
No. Because for me at that time, my mind was I couldn't listen to anything else. Yeah. I couldn't hear anything else. I couldn't even listen to what people were saying because I was so consumed in this pain. It was like, I just need to be in a room going through this stuff, which I did. And I sat on my own for a lot of time in this, like this. And it took me months and months and months. And, I'm grateful for my first experience of that, but I took a different journey and that's all it was. And, I know to this day, and I advocate for it because I teach people that's where they got to go because it's there, it's free and everyone's on the same journey and they understand. But, back then, anyway, look, there was no information.
Yeah,
96. There was nothing.
There's no internet, no one to check up. Yeah.
You can't go on the ship.
Yeah.
Hey, I've stopped doing drugs. You shouldn't be fucking taking them anyway. Yeah. It's like...
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, so there was no information about how you stop. There was no information about how you stay stopped.
What was the point when you said, I have to stop? Why was that? There must have been a trigger point.
So
you know what?
Again, I was really ill. Physically ill. I had TB, I had hepatitis. I was dying anyway. Literally, I was
So you were dying around that. How old were you roughly in 96?
I was 96. 2 years older than you, so about 29.
Okay. And you've caned it from 21 to 29?
Yeah, till 29.
Okay.
So 29 I was. I think 29 is that
Can't have been 29 in 96. I was 24 in 96.
So what, like
you must
26?
be 26. You was about 26 years old. You weren't that old.
So 18 to 26 you caned it?
Yeah, basically. Okay, so 26.
And what drugs you caned? It can't have just been all cocaine. Everything. Give me an example.
Ecstasy, acid, cocaine, speed occasionally, boozing, all the normal stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't smoke a lot of weed because it had the adverse effect on me. I wasn't a down.
Okay.
I couldn't do that. That actually gave me more paranoia than everything else I took.
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful in one way that there was one drug I didn't get, involved.
What about you, Dan? What was your addiction like? How many years was it until you hit a point and go, I've got to stop?
As I said earlier on, I got drunk when I was 8 in the school parties. Then I started doing the aerosols, sitting in your bedroom like that. I remember sitting there once, like totally off me head, tripping in my bedroom. Like I was at school, I must have been about 12 or 13, and my mum going, "Dinner's ready," and I went, "Oh no, my brother was born, so I must have been about 15." And she went, "Dinner," because she got sober by then.
Yeah.
She got sober when I was 13. And she went, "Dinner's ready." I remember sitting there dribbling in my bedroom going, "Fuck, hell, I'm not going to get away with this." Do you know what I mean? And then drink and then drugs. But then as you're earning that, you're only able to take that. Oh, we'll get a pill each.
Yeah.
Then, you're ducking and diving. So you got 10 pills and then you start dipping into them and doing more. Then remember this geezer once, he went, "Why are you boys messing around with pills?" He went, "You should be getting on the gear. So much better." Cocaine never agreed with me. Never agreed with me. But from the start, as soon as I did it, I was addicted because I wanted more. I chased it more. I wanted more. As I said, someone sent me a message earlier on. I said, well, cocaine is basically a definition of insanity because you keep doing it and expecting different results.
Yeah.
Think it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's going to do this. It's nothing like the movies. Doesn't make you better looking. Doesn't it? Confidence, creative. Was never that for me.
Yeah.
It took the extrovert and made me majorly introvert.
Really?
Yeah, I'd go and fucking sit in a cupboard on my own for 9 hours in the dark, lock me in, bag of gear, 40-degree heat, didn't give a shit. As long as it's me and my gear, that was it.
Wow.
And when it got to when I was doing more and more and more, the more gear, what it basically was is I remember sitting there and I used to be so paranoid in my flat upstairs. I'd sit in the dark and I'd hold my breath because I thought people outside could hear me. And you're talking like outside in a flat on a road, and I sit there and go because I thought they could hear me. And I used to crawl around on the floor on my hands and knees to go to the bathroom in case anybody could see a shadow. I'd go to the toilet. I didn't go to the toilet like a cat. But I used to go to the toilet. And I'm standing there like you're paranoid and like you're looking out the window and the fingers in. I'm like, oh fucking hell, hell. And then it wouldn't work, so I'm going to piss. So then I'm going back like before I've got to piss, and I'm sitting down. I remember sitting with this half ounce of gear like that. Think it's going to last forever, but it don't. Eventually, it's going away and it's going away. It's going away. And I remember I used to sit there. I used to do a gram in one hit. So I just sit there and then all of a sudden, like I just sit there and go, oh, and I feel it just almost like it's shaking like that. I go, fucking hell, like a proper hit, an addict's like punch, and thinking if I die now, I'm going to die happy.
Is that what you were thinking?
That's exactly how I used to think. If I die now, I die happy. 7-8 hours later, or 24 hours when it's in the dark again, I'm going through the carpet looking for the little white bits because it's all gone. Going, I'm going like that. That's fucking Ajax. Fuck shit. Do you know what I mean? Or it's like dust from the floor or shit or something or someone's shoe. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't talk. Like trying to get some more gear. Before to like when no texting.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you want? Couldn't talk. Oh mate, horrible.
Mate, that is horrible.
Go on.
Go on.
Just say with one thing, I was very fortunate. I mean, I did the same thing with the carpet. How much did you get up there? But I'd gone to the crack at one point, right? And I had an awakening moment with crack, and I remember that I was so pleased because at that time anything would do, Rohypnols, anything to go to sleep, diazepams, anything to get older, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I remember sitting around my house once with a few of my pals, and we'd started on the crack, and I'd been washing it at home, and I had pipes and all sorts under my bed, and I would do that every night. I'd come home to I don't know, to try. Microvic, I'm saying, oh, you'll come down with this, radio. So I was, hey! And then it's the worst thing ever, everyone. Don't forget. Anyway, so I was sitting there watching this pipe go round the circle, and I'm sitting there thinking, he's missed a bit. That's coming around to me. That's going to come around to me. And I was thinking about it, and watching the pipe burn, and there's a rock mist. I'm thinking, I'm going to get that little bit of rock extra. And I thought, fuck, what am I doing? And my brain went, this is the worst ever. I never touched it again. Honestly, and that was in the grips of it, and I carried on with the other thing, but just that, and I got rid of the pipes. And I thought, fuck, that was out of control. That was like,
what's the difference between cocaine and crack?
It's just it's called freebase, isn't it? It's basically washed up cocaine. It's not the high is pretty high.
Yeah,
it's real sort of way out there high, but the come down's terrible. the behaviour around it is terrible. People do the worst things to get it. It's like, I can't. Thankfully, touch wood, I didn't get into it. I used it for about 3 or 6 months, 3 or 4 months, and then I think I stopped that night. Thank God. But again, it's something that's really frightening and very dangerous, and there's a lot of health complications. People take risks with, and we know about things called bloodborne viruses now, which is some of the work I do. You can pass Hep C. So when you get a note and you sniff a bit of gear and it's a brand new note, you can get blood on the end of the note. I'm sure you've all seen it. If you just thought, blood, stuck it up your nose.
Yeah,
on the end of a new note, it's got someone else's blood on it. You can put that into your bloodstream and transfer bloodborne viruses. So there are a lot of risks, and also there's a thing called cracked lung, which means, I don't know if you've ever done that with cocaine. It reforms itself. It washes out all the purities and it reforms as a rock, right? That's a crack rock, and it makes that sound. That's why they call it that. But what it does is when you burn it, it breaks up into particles. But then what it does is once you've inhaled it into your lungs, it reforms.
Right.
So it comes back to the rock again.
Right.
So if you imagine doing that a lot, your lungs get covered in these crystals, which then makes it impossible to breathe. It's really dangerous. I hasten to add, if you're struggling with that, get help. There's loads of help out there. But yeah, it's that's that awareness. I was like, wow. I think to myself this day, I remember that moment. I said, Christ, that is so out of my control. I do not want to.
Do you remember the time when you first tried crack?
I didn't do it. I used to smoke cocaine and things like that.
Yeah, we did enjoy it. When did I first smoke crack? I think
What made you go to crack? Did someone say this is even better buzz?
I think at the time we would just, you'd just try anything.
Yeah.
And chasing a bigger high.
That's it. Basically chasing a bigger high. And that's all it was. It was like, it wasn't for any other reason. And let's try this and it works. And
Dan, how old were you when you said, well, I need to stop? How many years clean are you today?
I'm 20.
20 years clean,
20
mate.
years clean.
That's amazing.
Well done,
Respect.
Well, 20 years, and as he said, like going back onto that one, 6 months into sobriety, and then it was the triggers of the emotional stuff, the insecurity, the jealousy, the fear, the resentment. I went and sat there. Everyone was drinking. I'd done the gear, and I went, "Why'd I do that? Why'd I do it?" But I needed to do that to find out. That was after 6 months, and then ever since after that, but I never picked up a drink ever since. So 19 and a half years, maybe the cocaine, if you consider a lot one line, which is. But I was pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and never once did I think I want to give up. I did on the Millennium come back from a Clockwork in Ireland, which was terrible, and I was fuming. I was 18 and a half stone. I'm 14 and a half.
Were you 18? You blown up, did you?
I was 8 and a half stone.
Was you?
Yeah, I was 8 and a half stone. I was like, I thought I was taller then because I'm shrinking now, but I was bloated. I was
18
fat.
and a half.
18 and a
Wow.
half stone.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
My brain went like that. Gonna start running. Gonna get fit. I stopped drinking. That was the only time I managed to stop drinking for a period of time. I stopped for the whole of January. I lost 2 stone in January. Started running, proper addictive behaviour. Then I went on to do marathons. I'd done 5 marathons all in a row, 3 of them when I was still on it. I could tell you some mad stories about that. Like going out all night and then like literally in the morning going and running 12 miles.
Amazing.
But then running up the hill because I had the ump telling out, shouting out at 6 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the winter going, like no sleep going, the anger out. That was what we done. I was just like mental. But I was pushing myself and drinking. It was only at the end that a guy I live with, a guy called Flumpy, I remember him putting his head round the door on a Monday. I had all these different joints all over the table, like a couple of bottles of wine. I was like, have I got enough for the off licence shut? And everything. He went, go to bed now, kid. And I went, and he went, oh, you're an alcoholic. I went, fucking cheek. How dare he talk like that? Dare you talk to me like that? It wasn't long after that it stopped. But if it wouldn't... Right, so my one was, and then I went to Ibiza, Clockwork had finished.
What year are we talking roughly?
This is 2003.
Okay.
Done some mad stuff in Ibiza. Swore to the girlfriend I was with that I wasn't going to drink anymore because I was in that restaurant, the one I said I threw the air bomb in earlier on, Sakapaya. I was drinking nice red wine. Didn't have no money, I was skint at the time. Drinking red wine, but where alcohol used to, say like you was like that, and alcohol would make you like go into the green and make you like happy and relax you, and as they say, it rounded off the square edges, and it just went like that. went into the black. I was drinking, whoa, what's going on here? So I thought, I've got to drink another one. I drank another one, and it went even worse.
Yeah.
And I knew my drinking was over. After that night, I spoke to my mum. I borrowed someone's phone because I was skint. I didn't have no credit. And I rang her and she said, well, you know what you got to do. It was the first time she said to me, she said she was in England and she went, because she was sober, by this time, whatever. And she went, can you feel my arms around you? And I'm fucking crying. It was outside Kenya and up on the rocks. I'm going, help me, please. Come back, went to V Festival. Same thing again, what we was talking about earlier on when I said on the mic, Blocko's giving up the gear. And I walked in, all my mates are there, and I went, I'm not going to get on it anymore. They were like, hey! They don't care. Yeah. It's not their business. And I pressed the fuck it button because everyone was enjoying themselves, and I felt I was in the wrong environment. Like, get me fucking shots, give me some bugle, give me some pills, give me some weed. Who's got this? Who's got that? And it just went, where I'd already changed, it pushed me so, my brain, not like a headache, the pain was so incredible, I thought it was going to split open.
Yeah.
I actually felt like if you'd have hit it, it was going to be hit with a machete and like a melon and split open.
Yeah.
That was the pain I was in. Got home from there that night, went to an after party, played up at the after party, woke up the next morning, went like that and went, oh, I knew, I could feel it.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's done. It's finished. It's just gone. That was it. And from that moment on, I've not done it ever since.
That's amazing.
But what Blocko said is, the hardest journey for me was the AA.
Yeah.
I went to AA and I fell in love with AA.
Oh, you fell in love with it?
Oh,
that's nice to hear.
Oh, I love
yeah,
it.
because a lot of people can fight it, you know.
No,
Did you manage to do the whole 12-step program?
Yeah, I messed about with this and that. And
have you completed a 12-step program today? No, okay.
No, but I went, AA became my going out.
Yep.
Went there on this Saturday night, met all these people. This geezer saying about how he'd done this. This geezer said this. This lady sat here. The light went on. The light went on, and I went, oh my fucking God. These are the people I need to be with. Yeah. I have found my tribe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd done AA for 8 years, seminars, retreats, meetings, T-boy, secretary, open up, close, run people, took them. And were
you a sponsor of people?
People used to say to me, will you be my sponsor? And I say, like, I'll be your friend, but I won't be your sponsor.
Yeah,
Whoever you need to ring. This is the hardest of the tough lot. This guy's now passed away. He's called Farmer Dave, and I used to love him. I used to call him mad. He was mad. That's what I loved about him. When he used to share, it was incredible.
So just for example, anyone who's never been to an AA meeting, NA meeting, CA, whatever it is, can you give the listener an example of what it actually is when you walk in there?
It's like well, I mean, look, I was going to say, as I said, the reason I didn't continue was because my brain wasn't ready to accept anything. I couldn't listen to anything. I couldn't hear anything. I needed to get calm before I could actually take anything on board. I advocate all that stuff now. So basically what it is it's a comfort blanket. It's somewhere, this is my interpretation, it's somewhere you walk in, there's no judgment, you don't feel different, you just go, because as soon as someone starts speaking, someone comes over you and says, all right, are you all right? You're all right, sit down, have a cup of tea, and you go, oh, pace it, like, does this really exist? Yeah. And theoretically, what happens after that is you make friends and you get asked to become and then you can say stuff, you talk about stuff which is going on for you, and that's where the support network is what you need. Don't forget, you've stopped a life. When you stop doing that, you've stopped a life. You say you stopped and stuff. Before you stopped, did you have the fear of not being fun? You know what I mean?
When you stop.
There's always that. Yeah,
when you stop, you do.
Yeah,
what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
But then you realise,
did you have that feeling?
Yeah, of course I did.
Did you have that feeling like you knew you were? How many years do you reckon you knew you wanted to stop, but you didn't want to stop because you didn't think you were going to have any more fun again?
No, I never thought I was going to stop.
Really?
Yeah, no, I had that feeling after.
Okay.
I'm going to be boring now, and then you start realising that life ain't all about clubs.
Yeah.
And then I started taking to my grandmother to like the Albert Hall to Shostakovich presents Shostakovich, or the British when they do all the Second World War planes. I was taking her there, or doing this. I started living life.
Yeah.
Because all I was doing was clubs.
Yeah.
If I think about
you actually were present.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Normal.
Good for you, Dan.
So think about this though. So you're saying about being the fun. You've got to think, who am I being fun for?
Yeah.
Then you think, they probably don't know anyway. They don't care. They're out having their own fun.
Yeah.
And I don't need to be that, because that person who I thought was the fun one is actually killing himself and not being. And it's not fun when you get to that stage where it's not enjoyable, mate. It's an existence.
Did both of you find that you had pals around you who were a bit like, yeah, we like him, we like Dan, we like Block, but God, fuck, he's a liability. Let's just crap shuffle away from him on nights out.
No, there was like, get him out.
For you, what about you, Dan?
If people saw me, but when I was out of like outlandish behaviour, then they wouldn't want to be around me. My mates would; they'd put up with it. But as there's a saying or along the lines of like, people tolerate you when you're successful.
Yeah.
When the success are gone, you become a pest.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you haven't got the money and you're scrounging for a bit of gear, and you become a pest, and that's what I became. It's like, have you got any gear? You got this? How do I get free drinks? How do I get out of my nut in the way that I want to? On fuck all. You become a pest. They put up with you, especially in Ibiza and other places. They put up with you when there's something in return for them.
In it for them.
Yeah. When there's something good in return for them. They're like...
Did you find you get used at all over the years, either of you?
Nah, everybody, it was business.
Everyone was doing it. Everyone was, okay.
You did what you had to do.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, for me, we just shared whatever. I don't think we looked at it as being used. I think we all just went along with whatever was going on. So it wasn't like, I don't think there's any ulterior motives back then. I don't think people thought like that. Yeah. Maybe it's a different way of thinking now. But I mean, especially Clubland early days and the Ibiza thing, we was all in that bubble of we love
Fun.
each other.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We don't, we're here to have a party. We're here to enjoy the music. We're here to enjoy whatever else is going on. So you didn't really think, you didn't analyse anything too much.
How did it affect you getting celebrity status everywhere you went at your peak? Did you like it?
You
probably didn't see it as celebrity status, but people, like even Dan looked up to you, and people around were looking up. He was growing
it never registered like that for me at the time, so I didn't have that more afterwards, because
After what?
Well, after I stopped.
Okay.
Because then it's fame.
Yeah. Okay.
You're quite famous.
Yeah.
And then when you stop being, or you how do you deal with fame? And it's I found it. I always struggled with it.
Why?
I don't know, because maybe I had imposter syndrome or survivor's guilt, which is, because I've always felt that deep down, I always felt, well, how comes I make it through this stuff? And I've seen some of my friends, God rest their souls, pass away when I was terrible, and yet I still have this, I'm still here type thing. So it was always a bit of underlying, self-doubt or I don't know what you call it, self-esteem issue. I don't know, all this personal stuff, which we get through our lives. And it's dealing with that stuff. So the celebrity status, look, I'm very, what's the word? When people say, "Oh, Block, can I have a photo?" I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Because that means that, oh wow, I've touched someone's life in a way that's good, hopefully, or that they've enjoyed the music over the years, or we've had some fun out and about somewhere type thing, and whatever. I suppose it's accepting.
Tell me about that period in your life when you went on to the Brit Awards and went on stage.
Well, that was a
what
moment.
What year was this?
That was 99.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, after I stopped taking gear, I went on top of the Pops. We had a hit record, number 3 in the charts. So it was like, I was the DJ behind the back of the stage going, I've got dancers and everyone else going, TOTP, mate. So it was, I'm third in
What song was it?
It was the Blockster remix of You Should Be Dancing. The Bee Gees.
Okay.
So the Spice Girls and Westlife were in front of me. Yeah. So I got photos of me and Melanie C, who's DJing well now, which is well done, Mel. But we've got photos of me and Brian Adams and Mel C, and also The Click, which is MC Creed and the Masters.
What?
Eh?
The what?
The Click. That was their
Click.
band.
I thought you said something else.
The Click.
Dude, honestly, I thought I heard something else.
Put your ear in 18. Put your ear in 18. So The Click were a band at the time, and we were all on top of the Pops together. It was a lovely little thing. And then on the back of that, so the story around the Brits is, quickly, I'll briefly tell you.
Yeah.
My best mate, who's still my best mate, Matt, if you're listening, hello mate. He was running the after party of the Brits. He'd done it, and his partner was Jamie Wood, Ronnie's son.
Yep.
And they had a company which they used to run the after party Brits. I DJ'd many times for him at the after party, which is great. And he said, this year, look, we've got a new kid going to come do it. Do you mind leaving? I said, no, not a problem at all. In that gap, the Ministry of Sound rang up and said, the Brits have said we're nominated for best British dance act. And I went, oh, okay. They said, we're not going to win, but we're not just went, I said, well, get us a table. And they went, well, there's no point. We're not going to win. I said, well, just get us a table. Why not? We should be there. And they went, well, why? I said, because I said so. Get us a table. And the Brits, so they rang me. I said, well, we've got a table. You can bring this amount of people. We're bringing all the first lastminute.com millionaires or first people who are big in the industry. So we're all sitting around a table. And now, in the meantime, my mates rang me and said, look, he's let us down. Can you do the after party? So I said, oh, yeah, no problem. I'm going to be there anyway. So I'll bring me records in the limo. I've took my mate Brady and the other lads in the band. We've gone in the limo, dropped me records in the room. I thought, aye. So I've gone out, and there's free champagne. So I'm, hey. So a few glasses of cheap champagne, and I'm saying hello to everyone. There's all the people, the famous people. My Blocko, yeah, what are you doing here? Yeah, you know, exactly what I said on the stage. What are you doing here? And so the evening progressed, and then I was sitting with name dropping Chris Mills and Trevor Nelson. We were sitting because the Radio 1 was there, Kiss were down there. I was with Ministry of Sound, so all the music and the level C. Yeah, right. There's A, B, and C. Yeah. We were in the C's. So I was talking to Dane from another level, Dane Bowers, and
who's your pal now? No?
Oh, he's a pal of mine. Anyway, so he's going, oh, you've won an award, and I went. And that was it. I didn't see what award was, didn't know if it was true or not. I just said, right, I'm off, and I went to get this award. So I've walked through this myriad of famous people. I'm on the B section, I've gone through that, and I'm on the A's, and there's Fatboy Slim, there's Pete Tong, and there's all the other people in management going, Blocko, what are you doing? Fuck off, don't you dare stop me and my power. I'm on the way to get me an award. And it was like, he's not won anything. What's going on? They're all looking around going, it's fucking mental. Anyway, so I've ended up on the stage, and this is where I've said, and Davina said, what's your name, mate? And I went, Random Block, oi, oi. And they went, ah, the whole place went mental. And I was on my way off the stage, and then Ronnie said something. Ronnie Wood come up giving the award away. He said, who's that? And I sort of went, oh, I'll come back to say, I'm me or whatever. And then we had a little banter. I got shuffled off the stage. Yeah. And then into the corridor at the end, the side corridor, right? And I've walked down that side corridor. It's like Patville. I'm like that guy because, what's happening here? And I'm get to the end, and there's Matthew like that. And my mate, because I'm DJ at the after party, don't forget, and he's like that. And I've gone, I burst into tears. I go, oh, I'm so sorry. He went, what have you fucking done? What have you fucking done? I went, I don't know what I've done. And he went, get out. I went, what up, DJ? He went, you fucking ain't, get out. So, asked to leave. And
the ultimate nutter.
Folklore.
Ultimate nutter,
yeah, there's the ultimate nutter. Yeah. Dan, tell me the journey from day one to year 30 of Clockwork Orange parties.
Wow. Day one was a snooker hall in Holborn.
What was that? Was that
Paddocks?
Paddocks, it was, yeah.
Yeah, when you done Paddocks, yeah. It's that video with Smithy. He was going like that.
Oh, Danny. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, that's it. The video, and he's about 20.
I remember. Oh, that was it. Was that Paddocks?
Yeah,
how mad's that?
And then we just progressed on, and we went from I can remember the old days. We went from Paddocks. This was 93, and then we done done a film studio, and we done here and there, and then 90. Then we went to Ibiza in 94, and we done the Cross for the first time. Lovely. May 1994, Bank Holiday Sunday with Digweed. Yeah. And on the way, I remember coming on the way home, and Andy, we stopped in his petrol garage, and we used to just drink really then. And I've turned around, he's caught this fucking goose in his petrol garage. He jumped over the fence, seen this goose, grabbed it. It was thinking, put it in the car. And Joey's girlfriend was like, what are you doing? Let it go, it flapped off. Then we went to Ibiza, and then when we come back, we done Camden Palace, Hanover Grand, film studios. We've done this, Mr. Light and film studios, car parks. And it grew. Cinecittà, which used to have a train carriage in it off of Oxford Street. And I remember coming out of the club, being in his car, and Andy flagged me down. And I went, just drive. I don't want him in the car. So he got his record box, HMV or John Lewis, and threw his record box through the window about 6 o'clock in the morning. It's like 25 foot by like a 6 foot plate glass window, and it all just shattering. It all going just driving up the road. Like, get the fuck out! And I'm like, next day, I just got out the nick. It's going to cost me $6,000. This was like 29 years ago.
Yeah.
And it just went on, and then we relaunched. Then I left in 2001 because it was my sole job, and I started again. I started off as a site labourer. And we relaunched again. I came back 11 years later in 2012 on my 40th birthday at McQueen's in Shoreditch. You played that one, didn't you? Yeah. And then 2 years later, we went back to Ibiza. And we've done massive things now. Printworks, and got Clockstock, the festival now. And we've done them all. We've gone back to Coco. I lose track.
The orchestra now?
Yeah, the orchestra. We launched in Ibiza, and we've done we've done the orchestra this year in Ibiza. We've done Amnesia, gone back to West Paradise, Benamusa Park, Sankey's, and then the beach parties that we've done in Ibiza. We took from 300 people to, in its height, around about 8,000 people.
Wow!
And then think about this though, what to rebrand from scratch, and have that following still from 13, 14 years previous, and come back and do it again. But bigger.
You must have had the 40s and 50-year-olds bringing their kids back now.
No,
surely.
we do now. Right, this is a story for you, right? So when we done Fire and Light Box.
What was it called? Fire and Light Box?
Fire and Light Box, when we first relaunched.
In Vauxhall?
Yeah. When we started in 2012, so this is about 2014. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. It's -3. It's packed outside on the terrace. This kid comes out. Oh, you all right, mate? Yeah. I went, you sure you're right? I'm standing with this group of people. He went, you think I'm fucked? He went, you want to see my mum and dad on the dance floor? And I went, oh my God. That was a realisation of I'd got old.
Yeah.
Sometimes you forget.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you forget. I was like a 20-year-old kid with long hair and spots and whatever when I started, or 21. And I was like, oh my God. Now, there's grandparents who come with their kids who are like in their early 60s, who had kids early, their kids had early, and they're like a grandparent will be there with their kids, and you're like, what? But there's a lot of parents who come with their kids.
Tell me about your party you put on in Ibiza, where isn't there like a week period where you put it on when everyone piles out? The sort of, and what sort of age group is it?
The biggest age is from like the 45s to the 55s, and then you've got like 40s, and then you've got a majority of 30s, but then you get the young kids come. The young kids come because they're experiencing
good
what
music.
The 90s was all about. A safe environment. Yeah. They love it. They love the atmosphere, and they get into. We did Fabric on Saturday, and
just gone.
Yeah, and it was like the 90s.
Brilliant.
Like busy, sold out, blah blah blah. It was only a small amount of youngsters at this one. But they love it because it was like the 90s. The old school room was rocking. Everyone's singing the songs. Main room was packed. We're now doing vinyl again, like the block I was talking about. We're doing vinyl again. Everyone's loving it because they're pulling out the tunes that everyone's forgot.
So did everyone have to play vinyl that night?
The one in the vinyl room, they had to play vinyl.
In the vinyl room, there was a vinyl room. Okay, got you.
What? Tell me about Clockstock. Where is it? How many years it's been running for?
It was at Chelmsford City Racecourse for 4 years. We've moved it this year to a place called Boynton Farm. It's like the
Where's that?
Boynton Farm is in Chelmsford.
Okay.
And it's like the big sister. Never say brother actually. It's always female related. Clockwork's a lady in my eyes, and it's like the bigger sister of Clockwork. So you get many more stages, much more production, loads of performers.
All outdoors. How many days?
That's just a one-dayer.
Yeah. How much is sevens? So 3 days, right?
3 days, Bournemouth Sevens,
Bournemouth Sevens.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it for 3 days. I'm dead.
Yeah, mate. I'm dead after 3 days. Yeah. But you imagine, like our business models, we build up 362 days a year to earn all your money in 3 days. All that risk, all those millions up front, bang, for risk of that, to earn your money in 3 days. It's a risky business we're in. We're all in, but we're changing for the world, right?
The Ibiza weekend's the same thing. It killed me this year.
Yeah.
It hurt. We've done we've done Cafe Del Mar. We had an orchestra, played out that. Then we've done the boat.
Hold on. Orchestra. Tell me about the orchestra.
The orchestra where we flew over 30 members of the Royal Philharmonic and London Symphonic. We've done the finale to Clockwork this year for 30 years.
Quality.
And we've done we basically done like along the lines of like classical. Like everyone
brilliant.
knows, but it was honestly, I've got an high level of acceptance.
Yeah.
I still find minor faults in it.
Yeah.
Like the lights and all that, which no one else says. Yeah. But it blew me away. People come up to me, I was like, not now. Not
Yeah.
now. This is costing me enough fucking money. Just leave me alone. Do you know what I mean? And
So you had to fly 30 of them over.
oh, trust me, you don't even.
Plus hotels, transport, food, money, equipment.
No, that's just
whole
them.
lot.
Then you've
And then you got the production.
that'll come from England and Switzerland.
Oh, mate.
Licenses, engineers.
Where were you hosting this party?
It was called the Recinto de Ferrial. It was a government-owned building on the outside of Ibiza town. Wanted to do something different.
But that's done. That I mean, working with the government has done you
Favours.
massive favour.
Yeah, but then we gave them a free concert. So we
Yeah,
gave
okay.
them 6 members of the Royal Philharmonic
Yeah.
on the Saturday night in Ibiza town.
What their Royal Philharmonic?
Yeah. No, the people we flew over, we give them 12 members of the orchestra.
Oh, for a Saturday night to give them a party.
In Ibiza town.
Oh,
Yeah,
wicked.
lovely.
They played by the harbour.
Lovely.
And the mayor was there and all that. Yeah. So
Did you meet them all?
Nah, did I fuck? I didn't go there on the Saturday, no. Saturday was... What was Friday? What was Saturday? What did we do on Saturday?
Cove Santa?
No, Saturday was the beach.
Saturday Beach.
Saturday was on the beach.
Yeah.
So I'd done the beach and Cove Santa was on the Friday.
Cove Santa, what a
Oh,
venue. What a
mate.
venue.
Is it
If there's
that-
one venue I would want to throw a party there, it'd be there.
That
is a venue.
We're doing it again next year, and that for me is just like the epiphany of what I'll be
Yeah.
all about.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
year there's always a magic in the air at Clockwork,
Yeah.
which I seem to tap into when I'm out there, and I'm like, please help me out. And I'm talking to the island like a nutter. Most people go, what's this idiot all about? And I'm driving along, I'm going, I love you, the trees, I love the earth, I love the sea, and it works. But this year, I think there was something else on there. I was dancing in the crowd, having it with all the people. Absolutely loving it. Covered in like people's glitter and I didn't care.
Would you ever rent that?
What? Cove Santa. This is next year be our
It's
first.
you've done it for 3 years, have
No,
you?
this is our third party there. Yeah, next year. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
First year was brilliant. Was good.
I like it. It's decked. It's like that. It raises
Yeah,
up,
it's
doesn't
good.
it?
Like an amphitheatre.
Layered up
Great venue.
amphitheatre,
I mean, we
like a
was-
Roman.
Back in the day, we used to go part. We went there a couple of times. It was like a more restaurant-y
There's still a restaurant at the top. If you're at the top, though, you still can get your sushi and stuff
Oh
at the
yeah,
top.
yeah, but I mean, this was predominantly it wasn't a nightclub back then,
Yeah.
was it? Cove Santa, it was a venue.
No,
to
Cove
go
Santa
to.
was owned by your friend from Bennymusa Park. He sold it to them about 9 years ago.
old
Bartolo.
Bartolo.
Yeah.
But there's also a club inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can slip inside and carry on partying.
Yeah, it's a
until
great
that,
venue. I mean,
yeah.
there's loads of bits to
I
it.
love it.
Yeah,
The
it
staff
really is
are
good.
wicked. It's Amnesia who owns it, isn't it? And they're wicked. They're great to work with.
Martin's always a good one.
Yeah, they're good boys. But
Yeah.
it's, this year was special.
Yeah.
Special. But where we was going to do Bennymusa Park,
Yeah.
and then we moved it, and we brought like Todd Terry, fucking.
In fact, while you're there, reel off some names who you've booked over the years.
Everyone.
Give me an
Right,
example.
So
Give me an
in the
example.
early days, it was Blocko, Lisa, Jeremy, Judge Jules, Tall Paul, Seb Fontaine.
Yeah.
And then when we relaunched, then your Graham Parks, Norman Jays came about. Then it was like, then with the festival, it was like Roger Sanchez, Masters at Work, Eric Murillo,
Quality.
all of them.
Morales.
All started going on.
Huge. Gok's been playing recently. Got one.
Fat Tony.
Good DJ.
Tony.
Fat Tony as well.
even
God,
Fat
Wayne's
Tony-
good DJ, right?
Yeah, but we never thought about like Fat Tony back in the day. But
Yeah.
now he's weird. I love him. I love his personality.
He's
Like,
brilliant.
I'd like to get
so
Fat
direct.
Tony. I'm speaking to him, in fact. I'd like to get him on.
Well, you
So
should
done.
get it, but he'll
Yeah.
smash sevens.
Yeah.
Someone else needs to get on.
Yeah. 100%.
But he's wicked. You know, and I was thinking about something the other
No,
day. But,
there is someone else you need to get on.
Oh, that was... Hint, Dodge, hint.
only around the corner.
You've played at the festival before a few years
Yeah,
back,
years
didn't you?
ago, but it was all the times, and I know you got the ump because I
That's not
turned
gonna
out.
pay them all.
I can do an
What
hour
is it?
early in the VIP room. I had to go back there, but I'm here now, so
Yeah.
you can revisit that.
Did the VIP for it? In fact, you did the VVIP for us, didn't you?
Yeah, but it was early because I had to
Yeah,
get off.
yeah,
I prefer
yeah.
to do it like because I'm, if
It's all day parties now. That's something we
Yeah.
was talking about space
Yeah.
on a Sunday. That was the only day party. In the 90s,
Yeah.
everything was nighttime.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Everything was
I love
nighttime.
day parties.
No,
I'm done.
Now it's switched.
Get me bed before midnight.
Yeah, even in
Nothing good
Ibiza,
happens after midnight.
Well, look, it's I said this during the lockdown, right? We changed our behaviours. Us lot of our age. Don't forget, before we'd go out every week because it was our habit to go out every week. So you go out one night, you get home, and think, right, what am I doing next Saturday?
Yeah.
What am I doing next Saturday? So we had a break of 3 months, then 6 months, then 9 months, then 12 months, then and then before it came back, it was like sporadic.
Yeah.
By that time, we'd all realised, do you know what? I don't mind staying in.
Yeah.
I'll spend time with the family. I want to choose the ones I go out to because I don't need to do it every week.
Yeah.
I've been drinking too much and I realised that sort of thing. So we think daytime, Nice little dance, bit of a bit of a get together, have
Nice
a few
food,
beers,
good
whatever,
tunes, good
go
people,
home.
done.
I mean by 10 o'clock, 11
perfect.
o'clock, and by that time you're tired because we are tired.
Perfect.
You know, we're not. I find it difficult to be. Maybe it's me, and I'm. You know,
Mate,
if you want to go out late, go out late. But for me, I like to be home at a reasonable time, and if I have a late night, it's very rare.
Lads, I've absolutely loved this.
Is that it? Is that the end?
Absolutely loved this.
Started,
We get out.
The alarm's gone off. It's like, fuck off. That thing's get off my bus. It's not the end.
Lads, we've done an hour and a half.
Outside.
We've done an hour and a half. That is absolutely golden, lads. What an eventful life you've lived, Dan. And it's lovely to hear how clean we've been clean for 20 years now, and you come out the other side, and now you're smashing everything you're doing with Clockwork. Massive respect. Because you're clean and you're present, you know what's going on.
That's the reason where we got to where we are, because I'm sober.
Massive
Otherwise
respect.
I'd be dead.
Yeah, massive respect. And Blocko, what you've been through, mate, and we've known each other for years, mate. You've lived an eventful life, and you've partied like harder than anyone we've ever come across.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, and
you look great.
Well, and you look great for it, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very grateful that, as you said, you know, it could have very easily been another way. Quite easily, in fact. So, you know, where are we now? 96, 2006, 30. I'm not only Charlie and
27
years. 27, yeah. 28
Mate,
years.
massive 27 years. Massive respect, both. I appreciate you coming down from Essex. I know you live around the corner block over. Massively appreciate it.
But listen, can I just say something? And you've got to add this in.
Yeah.
If anyone has any struggles around drinking, drugs, anything with mental health problems, don't be afraid to reach out. There's lots of support for you now.
Agree.
You can contact myself or Danny. We'll be more than happy to help. Dodge can point you in the right direction. We'll put some links on the bottom for mental health, mind, etc. We all try to help. But just, you know, we've been through. We're lucky to be here, and we're lucky to see you today. Thank you. But do reach out. Don't feel alone and on your own.
Well
okay.
done.
Agree. And you know what? There's a massive website. Anyone listening out, there's a website called JAAQ.org.
Okay.
Just ask a question.
That's it.
It's a phenomenal
That's
model.
the hardest thing.
It allows people, because if you go on something, you go Google, it's all these lists of black and white. This website is all pre-filmed. It's like a masterclass, whether you've got depression, whether you've got anxiety, whether you want to commit suicide, whether you've got a drug problem, and it's there for you. You press a button and watch experts talk to you. Cool. It's phenomenal. Jack.org.
Put the link on the bottom.
Yeah, no, I'll put the link on there. Lads, I've loved it. Maybe there'll be a part 2 in the future.
Oh,
it's been lovely speaking to you, mate.
Maybe if you move closer to London. You've got 6 days to get out. He's
got a nice detour on the way up. Don't worry, mate. Take some sightseeing.
Boys.
6 days to
Quality.
London.
Good man, Dan.
Thank you, mate.
Blocko, legend.
Pleasure, Josh,
Cheers,
mate.
boys.
Thank you,
I really
brother.
enjoyed that.